Assalamualaikum and good morning to all. First of all, thank you for join us today for the Research Webinar Series 2.0 by Office of Deputy Vice Chancellors, Research and Innovations. So today I was appointed as moderators for today's sessions. My name is Siti Nurhaja Mat Latif, Coordinator for Energy and Environment from Research Nexus Office. And before we start, I'd like to introduce our speakers today. Before that, maybe untuk mendapat berkat hari Jumaat ni, mungkin we start first our sessions with Al-Fatihah first. Okay, I think I also would like to say hi and good morning to Prof Norma. I saw Prof Norma somewhere there. Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam. I'm on leave. Okay. But I am on leave, but I do not want to miss this session. Yeah. So congratulations to TNCPI and also Dr. Farizal.
Thank you, Prof, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, I would like to start the sessions with reading the biodata for Dr. Farizal Mohammed. Okay, so our today webinar sessions entitled Integrating Islamic Ethics Education in Preventing Financial Crime Using Case Study Approach. Dr. Farizal Mohammed is an associate professor and also a research fellow at the Accounting Research Institute, UITM. She holds a PhD in financial reporting from La Trobe University, Australia, and has a Master of Science in Accounting from De Montfort University, UK. And Dr. Farizal is a fellow member of the Associations of Certified Chartered Accountants, ACCA, and a Chartered Accountant of Malaysian Institutes of Accountants, MIA. Her main research interest is corporate reporting, corporate governance, Islamic accounting, and I also would like to highlight external appointment for Dr. Farizal from Ministry of Education for this year to develop a new funding model through analysis of sustainability and financial performance of public universities. So I think I give the floor to Dr. Farizal now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Siti Nurhaja. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, as introduced, my name is Farizal. So, I'm a research fellow in Accounting Research Institute as well as a lecturer in Faculty of Accountancy. So, so basically the research focus in RE is on financial criminology and also Islamic finance. So basically I am between these two areas. So I'm called to discuss this topic because in addressing the questions that can we do something as an educator to prevent financial crimes. So a few years ago, I attended the International Financial Criminology Conference, I think in 2015. So I remember one audience came up and asked the representative of the SPRM at that time, how far have we done to educate the public about the corruption? So I thought as an educator, therefore, if we can do something about it, then that will be a great contribution. So particularly for us in the tertiary education, where we have a wide audience and our audience are between the young and mature enough to understand the issue. So here I am to discuss the issue. So let me share my slide first. All right, so everyone can, I hope everyone can see my slide here. So here I am to propose that understanding Islamic ethical value using business cases at the education stage will be able to contribute to preventing financial crimes. So of course we need for the internal control system, we need rules and regulations. So but this approach look into the other side in preventing financial crime using the spiritual values. So the reason why therefore we discuss on the ethical value. So the reason why this discussion focus on ethics is because there are many corporate the emergence of the corporate scandals in recent years. Okay, for example, the issues of transparency, integrity, bribery, and many unethical practices. So example, right? So this is the high-profile case of Enron. Okay, so we can see here the stock price has gone down, right? Okay, so so this case has shook the world, in fact, okay, with the demise of top accounting firm Arthur Andersen. So although this case has been quite some time ago in the year 2000, but there are lots of things that can be learned from this, okay? Yeah, particularly in financial misrepresentation and creative accounting. So if you look at this, okay, yes, okay, do you see my slide? Yeah, okay, so I hope you can see my slide here. So
thank you.
You can see, okay?
Yes, yes.
All right, so I shall proceed. So not to forget, there are also many unethical practices being reported in Malaysia. Okay, so especially the corruption case. Okay, the corruption, right? So has it got to do with Islamic ethical value, right? Okay, so this study therefore, right, okay, this discussion look into the Islamic ethical value, okay, because despite the perfect teaching of Islam, these unethical practices are committed by Muslims across professional disciplines, right? Not only accountant, but because I'm from accounting, so I will discuss more using the example of accounting, right? But these financial crimes are not only committed by Muslim, okay, by accountant, okay, but they are also they are also done by the other professional disciplines, such as we heard about the engineers, the doctors, the teachers, right? Okay, Jabatan Kerja Raya, Jabatan Bekalan Air, and all that. So even though I use the accounting as cases here, right? But this discussion also apply to other non-accounting courses or across other professional disciplines, right? Okay, so because of that, so we look into Islamic ethical values. This, right? Okay, so because I use the accounting examples here because accountants have the temptation to encounter in these financial crimes because they involve in money management, financial reporting fraud, right? Okay, but it also apply to other courses. So we thought that before the youngsters or the students go into the job, okay, before their minds are corrupted with the normal practices, okay, which they think it is normal or all right, okay, but it is fact it's not all right. So if we can use the appropriate approach in educating them about this prevention of financial crimes, so that will be a great contribution. So before we go into the education part, okay, let us recall what fall under the financial crimes. So basically, these are four broad scope of financial crime. So the first one is a theft. So theft is basically the act of stealing, the act of stealing from the public sector or government agency. All right, okay, and this is in fact more hazardous than the stealing from the individuals, because this is stealing from the government agency, right? Okay, or the what you public sector, yeah. Okay, so the second type of financial crime is confiscation. So this is basically taking away other people properties, right, by defeating them using the economic policy, political power, or social power. Okay, so the difference between confiscation and the theft is confiscation is done under the eyes of men. So means that other people see that, all right, okay, but then they can't really see that as a financial as crimes. Okay. The third type of financial crime is bribery. So this is as a mean of promotion in order to get something for their advantage or in return, okay, illegally. So this act of bribery leads to massive corruptions, okay, so which is actually harmful for the national economy. And the fourth type of financial crime is to gain money illegally, right, from haram activities. Okay, for example, we do business on drugs, right? Okay, or we do gambling, alcohol, or sex business. Okay, so these are people can see it as crime, right? As financial crime, because you gain money from the illegal activities. But some of these, okay, are not easily seen as crime. Okay, so why do we look at from the Islamic perspective or point of view? Okay, let's look. Okay, so before we look at Islamic, so we see here those four types of crime, financial crime, have actually evolved into more contemporary financial crimes, such as public service abuse, eco-political corruption, white-collar crime, money laundering, earning manipulations, and financial statement fraud. So since I'm from accounting, okay, so I'm accessible to more of these cases. So I will use more of these cases, okay. Earning manipulation, for example, hiding certain information, right? Boosting the earnings, right? Okay, so these are financial statement fraud, okay, or insider dealing. Okay, example of the insider dealing where the person is inside the company, where he knows what's going on in the company, right? But he cannot trade the shares, so he used the wife accounts, okay, and then buy the shares, and when he knows that something's going wrong with that company, dump the shares, and which affect the other retail investors, okay, and also the money forgery. So let's look into the Islamic perspective in preventing this type of crimes. Okay, so these white collar crimes such as wage theft, financial fraud, bribery, financial misrepresentation, Ponzi schemes, and many others are in fact crimes, but they are not easily seen as crimes in the eyes of men. Okay. And then why do we look at it from the Islamic perspective? Okay, even though this type of crimes are not easily seen in the eyes of men, we Muslim, we believe in God, we believe in Allah, then we believe that Allah knows and oversees everything. So that will should actually safeguard in our action. As he says in Surah An-Nisa verse 108, they conceal their evil intention and deeds from the people, but they cannot conceal them from Allah, and He is with them in His knowledge when they spend the nights in such as it does not accept of speech, and ever is Allah of what they do encompassing. Okay, so despite not having CCTV, despite not having any recording or any evidence have been discarded, right? But we Muslims, we believe that Allah knows and oversees everything. Okay, so that should actually safeguard in our action. Okay, so even though these are not easily seen in the eyes of men, so we look into, from the Islamic perspective, we look into the preventions of financial crimes. Okay, so therefore we look from the perspective of ethics, and then what is actually ethics? Okay, so ethics or moral philosophy is a branch of philosophy that involves systematizing, defining and recommending concept of right or wrong conduct. So basically ethics are set of principles that guide us what action should we take, okay, that guide us into the behavior, right? Okay, what should be doing in the right way and what we should not be doing, right? Okay, so as I said before, I use more on accounting profession here, right? Okay, as an example, right? However, this study also apply to other courses as well, as because other profession also face a similar kind of threat in committing the financial crimes, right? Okay, so in that case, right, accounting really, right, okay, in education, therefore we really need to enhance to emphasize on ethics, right, because the profession needs the public confidence. We give the service to the public. Okay, we need so they need to be confident in the profession, right? So therefore it is very important to discuss on integrity, reliability and accountability in order to gain public trust. So here, so no doubt that there is a part of ethics in the accounting curriculum, but it is not really given emphasis, right? So probably one subject is given only a subtopic of ethics, and this topic, because it's kind of theory, right? So we can just pass through. Okay, sometimes the student can, we pass to the student to read on their own. Okay, so without really integrating with any situation. So because of that, right, engineering is needed in accounting education for identifying and planning ethical behavior. So as I said before, despite the perfect teaching of Islam, these financial crimes are committed by Muslims. So one of the reasons probably because we cannot relate, right? We cannot relate the Islamic teaching into the business dealing or the transaction that we encounter, right? So in that case, I call, right? I call for looking into the approach in giving some education to the students, okay, to the young, using the case study. So in that case, we need, right, okay, looking from the spiritual value, we need to include some part of human, yeah, in education. Okay, so this will become self-regulation or self-consciousness in their work environment. So this is evidence, right, from the some of the prior research that I found that so it is actually the humanistic factor or the religious factor that is significant in determining the behavior of people, right? Okay, sometimes the system itself, in internal control or rules and regulation, they're not significant. Okay, so it is the humanistic factor that actually affect the behavior of people most. Okay, so that's why it is important for us to look into the ethics. Then accounting students should be given the emphasis, must be aware about this ethical behavior. So I guess this also apply to other profession, because now, for example, the doctors, the engineers, they also give the public service. And so So it is also important, therefore, okay, probably we cannot imagine the ethical value to be included in their syllabus, but we can see later on, all right, how can we integrate some Islamic ethical value into the curriculum. Right, okay, so the problem here, right, okay, so we have some ethics, right, some ethics, okay, but we focus the syllabus, okay, the current syllabus, okay, for example, the accounting curriculum focus more on secularism, okay, materialism, and capitalistic value, right? Okay, and then we tend to neglect spiritual and moral values. Okay, so because we have other things, other technical, so no doubt, yes, because of the job scope, okay, we concern more on financial reporting, management accounting, auditing, and taxation, but the teaching of ethics seems to be very small. Okay, and then what more is Islamic ethics. Right, okay, so here in a time allocation of teaching ethics along with other subjects, so it's very small portion of ethics. Okay, even though when we went to the curriculum workshop, okay, sometimes we are given the talk about ethics, okay, but still, okay, it is very small portion. So even then, therefore, Islamic ethic, okay, it is, of course, it's not here, right? Okay, so even if there is any Islamic ethics, okay, these are incorporated in Islamic accounting subject. Okay, and currently Islamic accounting related subjects are elective, they are not compulsory, right? Okay, so even then, right, Islamic ethics seems to be in separate topic, which is lack of integration from other subjects. Right, okay, so Islamic accounting related subject currently concern more on things that happen in Islamic banks, Islamic finance institution. Okay, so they concern more on mudarabah, murabaha, mutanakisa, musyarakah. So those things which are for us difficult to pronounce. Okay, but not mutawasita. Mutawasita is something else, right? Okay, so they concern more on that contract, okay, kind of contract, okay, rather than discussing the Islamic ethical value. So I went to the what you call it, the workshop, workshop in Yogyakarta, workshop in developing the Islamic accounting curriculum in Indonesian university. So they invite me. Okay, so which I present a similar issues. Okay, so they actually found a gap in Islamic accounting syllabus, where the syllabus currently focus more on those things, those contract. Okay, or Islamic banks kind of issues. Okay, but what about other business, right? What about other business? Are we not using the Islamic, are we not supposed to use the Islamic ethical values, right? Okay, so this they found some gaps. Yeah, they found some gaps in the current syllabus of Islamic accounting, where we concern more on Islamic banks, okay, rather than looking at Islamic ethics to apply in our daily business transaction, other than Islamic banks. Okay, because we always discuss on Islamic ethics, okay, in the form of Islamic bank, wakaf institution, zakat institution. But what about other businesses? Okay, so are we not, can we integrate Islamic ethical value? Okay, right? So this result in, okay, because of the lack of integration, okay, so the teaching of Islamic ethical value is forgotten. Okay, and then students, okay, not only students, okay, people like us also, right, can't really integrate Islamic values in facing ethical dilemma that happens in reality. Okay, so sometimes it's difficult, right, for us to bring in Islamic ethical value where we encounter any dilemma. Okay, so sometimes when there's conflict, right, okay, we can't really apply, okay, because there is a lack of integration. So we discuss more on principles but not looking into the case, okay. So the study of ethics here is also evidence internationally, okay. So it's given emphasis more and more, okay, in the international curriculum, okay. For example, here in the ACCA, right, so the ethics actually look, of course, is the conventional ethic, okay. Some when I show this topic, okay, some people also questioned me, isn't that ethics is a kind of universal things, right? Okay, is there such thing as Islamic ethics? Okay, so we shall see the different, right? Okay, later on. So here the curriculum of ACCA. So ethic is not a small topic and the subtopic of any one particular subject. So ethics is actually applied throughout the syllabus, okay, throughout the syllabus, where they integrate with the issue itself, okay. And this is evidence, yeah, this is evidence in their questions, okay. They don't simply ask ethics, what are the code of ethics, right, okay. However, they integrate with the situation, okay. And then similarly with SEMA here, so ethics is given emphasize more and more, right, okay, ethics, integrity, professionalism. So this actually underpin the whole syllabus, yeah, the whole syllabus of SEMA. Okay, and it is not only beautiful on surface, but they actually integrate it in the questions, right? Okay, so this is basically the code of ethics, right? Okay, for accountants. Okay, normally, okay, for the code of ethics, and this is also applied by most of other professional bodies, okay. Integrity, objectivity, professional competence, confidentiality, professional behavior, okay. So is there anything wrong with this that we want to go for Islamic ethics, right? Okay. So there's nothing wrong, right? Okay, so this seems to be in line with Islamic value also. Okay, for example, the integrity here. Okay, so being honest in our action, right? Honest in our reporting the truth, faithful representation. Okay, objectivity, when we do some decision must be objective. Okay, with the rational decision with justification. Okay. Professional competence, so must capable of doing the job, all right, okay. We have some knowledge, and same goes here, right, okay. Adhere to the rules and legislation. So this seems to be in line with the Islamic ethical value, right, okay. However, we shall look that Islamic ethical value goes beyond this, yeah, goes beyond this. So which is something that because for us, right, okay, for us the Muslims, so we are brought up with Islamic value, so we must have some sort of spiritual value, okay. But sometimes we can't relate, yeah, we can't relate with the our daily activities, right, okay. So these are basically the code of ethics that is applied by the accountants, okay. So why do we want to go for Islamic ethics here, right, okay. So Islam is the second largest religion, okay, in the world, and then the Muslim comprise of 60% of the population in Malaysia, right, okay. And then for UITM, right, so most of the students, okay, are Muslim, as a small portion that are non-Muslim. So here we were brought up with some Islamic values. So it is just that sometimes we are too confined, right? Okay, religion is confined into ritual activities only, and covering aurat and all that, okay. But in fact, okay, however, the fact that Islam is a deen, is a way of life, and this is not confined only to Islamic banks, okay, zakat institution or wakaf institution only, but it covers other businesses, right? Okay, so that's why I said that this discussion also applies to other profession, okay, doctors, engineers, and all that. Okay, so Islam provides a broad framework for all aspects of life, and ethics govern all aspects of life, as Allah said in the Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 3, as follows. So, this day have I perfected for you your religion and completed my favor on you and chosen for you Islam as religion. So Islam is perfect, cover all aspects of life, right? Okay. So therefore, right? Okay, so we can see here, right? Why do we go for Islamic ethics? Okay, so because Islamic ethics are based on Quran and Sunnah. Okay, and then it comes with spiritual value. So if we integrate with the education, okay, and then integrate with the situation, so that could be uh, useful, yeah, useful for the or improve the understanding on how to integrate the Islamic value into our business dealing. Okay, so and then we Muslim, right? Okay, we believe in God, so we are accountable to Allah. So our actions, okay, as a Khalifah in this world, and also be accountable to community. So therefore, right, okay, the main principles of Islamic ethical value here is accountable to Allah and social accountable. So hablum minallah, hablum minan nas. Okay, so can we imagine here? So for example, during this pandemic crisis, okay, we look at the Islamic Bank. So if they are only if they how would they behave if they are only confined to the conventional code of ethics, right? Okay, so we look at they have to be integrity, right? Okay, and then they have to adhere to the rules and legislation. Okay, so this during the pandemic. But what about if Islamic banks, right, apply these Islamic ethical values? Okay, so we can see that there are during this crisis there are people who struggles, right? There are people who struggles with their means, okay, and then finding the job, all right, okay. So how, and then in terms of payment, okay. So if we have this, if they and if they look into consider this Islamic ethical value, how would they behave, right? Okay, looking into the society, what value can they create, right? Okay, to the society, okay, during this crisis. So if they look into okay, because of the accountability to Allah. So this is basically the main principles, okay, of Islamic ethical value. Okay, so therefore we can see here, right, the core difference from the conventional ethics, Islamic ethical values and the Islamic ethics is the first pillar of Iman, that is belief in God. So by believing in God, right, by believing in Allah, the person should be accountable to Allah, and then therefore should be what you call it, refrain, okay, refrain ourselves from doing things that are forbidden by Allah. Okay, so therefore, right, okay, so with that belief, yeah, with that belief, okay, to safeguard our action. Okay, and then also we are Khalifah of Allah, as Surah Al-Ahzab here 72. Indeed, we offer the trust to the heavens and the earth and the mountain, and they decline to bear it and fear it. Okay, but men undertook to bear it. Okay, so because we have the role as Khalifah of Allah to take care of Allah possessions. right? Okay, so because other things, other creatures refuse to take the responsibility, so we have Khalifah Allah to take care Allah possessions. Okay, so this include the wealth, okay, the wealth of the shareholders, right? Okay, so which even though we believe they belong to the shareholders, but it's not absolute possession of shareholders, so it's all belong to Allah. But these are all principles, right? Okay, so this the one that we see now, if we don't integrate with the situation, right, it is difficult to see how can we apply those principles into the situation. So therefore, I call okay, the proposal here is the approach to deliver the Islamic ethic education by using case study. So we bring in the case study. Right, okay. So example here, so the case study, right? Okay, so perhaps, right? Okay, many of us say so. Case study is not mere thing. Okay, there have been discussion about case study for many years. Okay, but you know, and I know that. Okay, how far do we apply or do we implement this in our education? Right? Okay. So how far do we implement this in our education? So that's why, okay, so I'm calling that we integrate this a case into giving some ethics education by giving the case of ethical dilemma of the those financial crimes. Okay. So we look here the principles of Islam ethics. Okay, so accountability, Allah fearing, rationalness, piety, sincerity, wise currency, integrity. So these are right. Okay, the principles of Islamic ethics never change, right? So the principles Islam never change. So the principles never change. Okay, but it is the crimes that change. Okay, it evolved into more contemporary. Okay, it evolved into something which may confuse the people, right? Okay, so some people may not see this as crime, right? Okay, so perhaps now it evolved into a digital crime, which is some people say digital crime is easier to detect, right? Okay, but then it's probably going to evolve something which undetected, right? Okay, so the principles of Islamic ethical value never change, right? Okay, but the act of crime has changed. Okay, so rather than looking into the stealing, right? Okay, the stealing from the individual. Okay, so we have seen that we heard about it a few days ago. So one 19-year-old boy was shot instantly when he attempted to rob the bank, right? So he was punished instantly because people can easily see that as crime, right? Okay, so but there are these kind of financial crimes are not easily seen as crime. So therefore, we look into the spiritual approach, okay, to prevent, okay, to prevent the financial crime, okay. So if we look at, of course, right, the ethical value is taught, is taught in the syllabus of Islamic accounting, okay. But the traditional way of teaching is we go through the principles one by one, okay. So if we look at here, right, so we look at here business and managerial ethics, okay, must be honest, fair dealing, high moral value, and do not exploit others. So principle of Islamic ethics, okay. And then we give the example of those activities that we are prohibited, right? To account into is for such as gambling, alcohol, pornography, harmful product. Okay, so so basically the Muslims, so we are well known, okay, so not to encounter into these activities, okay, because we were taught from small that we are not allowed, to go into this to go into this activity. So we know, right? Of course, there are hardcore people who still go into this activity, right? The Muslim, okay? But most Muslims know that they are not allowed to go into. But then what about other cases, yeah? What about the contemporary one, okay? Such as the financial statement fraud, okay? Doing the creative accounting to hide. Okay, so this kind of crimes, all right, are not discussed from the Islamic ethical value, yeah, to prevent. Okay, so we don't integrate. Okay, so I'm calling here to integrate. Yeah, okay. So should be free and should not be subject with manipulation. So basically, we go through the Islamic principles one by one. So this is the traditional way of teaching Islamic ethics. Okay, example here, the social accountability, right? Okay, all resources are given God by trust. Okay, so we discuss more on the principle. Okay, so as I said, the principle never change. Okay, it is still the same, but the approach that I'm calling here, yeah, the approach to deliver the education. Okay, example, the full disclosure, we have to report the truth, right? Okay, so it is there. Records, right? Okay, materiality must produce the reliable financial statement, produce true, complete, reliable, right? Okay, all these are the traditional way of delivering Islamic ethics. All right, so therefore, right? Okay, so we look into different approach now, as I said, right? Even though the case study has long been discussed, but how far is the development in our curriculum? Okay, so we can't deny it is not much, right? Okay, so we don't really implement the case study. Okay, so in this case, we look into rather than asking, okay, students to memorize, okay, and reproduce what was taught, okay, we are expect students to do more challenging tasks. All right, okay. So in this case, we adopt the case study, right? Right. So students, okay, for example, here we can assign the student to write proposal, okay, engineers, example. Okay, they want to suggest a government agency to use this machine, okay, so that the production or the process, yeah, the process become more efficient, effective. All right, okay. So write the proposal, okay, develop the machines, okay, go into the tender, okay. This is like the case study, okay. So perhaps not going into the actual tender, but then make it as a case, and then until the complete project. So when it goes to tender, they create some ethical or conflict there, yeah, okay, or ethical dilemma there. So which they can apply. How would we use the Islamic ethical value there? Okay, and then give presentation. Then this will enable them to research, okay, make decision. And this is in line now with the pandemic, right? Okay. So even is ACCA and CIMA, they now going into the online assessments, right? Okay, so even though we do not expect, right, this online going assessment will be quite long, okay, maybe in future, we never know, right? But currently we are doing the online assessment, right, where the students are accessible to materials, right? Even though you ask the student not, you cannot control, right, the student not to look at the materials because it's online. So might as well we design something which they can actually look at the book, right? So rather than giving the assessment which they can just copy and paste, okay, think something that they can be more creative and able to analyze as a team, right? So therefore, a case study is the detailed description on a particular real-life situation or problem as it happened in the past. It could happen in the professional life of students. So it is a tool to promote appropriate learning styles and enhance generic development. Case study approach. So a good case study, so they must tell a story. So previously I went to give the training in Ministry of Economic Affairs. So some of the audience, okay, they are directors in government agency, and they also suggest, okay, us as academics, so if we can get the permission from the government agency to write the case, okay, from the actual case, okay, for the purpose of education, okay, because there are a lots of out there the crimes, okay, which sometimes we don't realize that we actually encounter into the crime. So therefore I think as educator, so we have the role to do something, okay, rather than the only talking about the rules and regulations. Okay, this is the look into the preventive measure in the form of a spiritual value, okay, but the delivering of education must be the appropriate way, okay. So case study here, so if we can get the permission, okay, to write case study using that, okay, then we can give some education using the actual, okay, or combine, make it a story, right? So the story here must tell a story, provoke some issue. The case must provoke issues. So because we want to encourage the thinking among the students as element of conflicts. Okay, so just now there's element of conflict, right? When we go into the tender, so of course, right, if we look into the materials, materialism or capitalism, of course, the money is always the money is our aim, right? Okay, so if so we have the element of conflict there, right? Okay, whether we want to, so probably some people would say that we just do the normal way, right? Okay, and some people will bring in the Islamic ethical values. So how to deal with the conflicts there? Okay, so therefore there is no clear-cut answer there. Okay, encourage the student to think, demands a decision, right? So student should decide on the decision in terms of the case study approach. So as I said, even though case study have been discussed a long time ago, but we still have the support from the recent literature, right? Okay, especially in about the educating ethics. The recent literature also promote the use of a case study, right? So, but of course, what they talk about is the looking at the ethics using the conventional ethics, but because for us, okay, why don't we use the Islamic ethical value there? Okay, so we have the advantages here. We have the advantages here, becoming aware of, right, hearing others' view. There's different views, right? And the reality, look at the reality, and really right or wrong. Okay, so and this will improve the content learning. So the case study here is in line with the development of accounting curriculum globally. So even the ACCA and CIMA, they adopt this case study only recently, right? Beyond 2015, yeah. Okay, strategy, they have the subject strategic business leadership, strategic business reporting here, and where CIMA goes into a case study from the lower level, right? So this is a traditional way of asking the question. So which, if we look at the online assessment now with the open book, right? So I think this is no longer applicable, right? reproduce what was taught, what is code of ethics, right? Merely asking question where the student can just copy and paste, right? Okay, so for example here, what are the rules of ethical conduct based on faith-driven conduct here, right? Okay, and then how do you, so this kind of questions, so I think we should progress, we should progress so that the delivering of education will be more effective, right? Look into the shall we look into the sample of a short case study. So this short case study, it could come from the long case, right? So okay, but then we simulate looking into the conflict. Okay, example here, right? So example here, this Ismail Limited, right, is going to manufacture the 3D printers, right? Therefore, he needs the significant injection of money in order to invest in plant and equipment, right? Okay, to manufacture the 3D printer to the international quality. Okay, so the Islamic bank requires the client to demonstrate good projected cash flow as well as certain level of probability. On the other hand, right, however, their cash flows does not meet the Islamic bank criteria. Then they inform the bank that, however, they inform the bank that the company is unhealthy, then they will provide the profitability and cash flow projection that satisfy the criteria. So the boss, right, the director asked the financial controller to prepare it, and the financial controller has recently joined Islamic Limited, and then he cannot afford to lose his job because of his financial commitment. Right, so here there is a case here, the situation. So we don't look, we don't look into a situation of Islamic banks or zakat or wakaf only. Okay, we look into the business in daily life, daily business life. Okay, so here is the there's a dilemma here where the financial controller can't afford to lose the job, right? Okay, so in that case, how we bring in the Islamic value, the ethical value into discussion there. Okay, so can financial controller prepare the financial statements, right? Okay, into meeting this criteria while in fact knowing what's going on. Okay, so we heard this, we heard this kind of case where they prepare nice proposal to do the business, and then while actually doing other use that money for other purpose. Okay, so this kind of thing, shall we bring in the Islamic ethical value to discuss in that situation? Okay, so that is the first case, number one. And then case two, for example, here, so I prepared the expected kind of answer, right? For case two here. Example here, Putra Corporation is publicly listed company and a government business entity. Since Putra Corporation is a government business entity, the company is directed to purchase some properties in overseas at inflated prices. So the price is believed to be higher than its fair value. Since the CEO will play a role in ensuring the transaction will succeed, the properties broker offer the CEO and finance director a certain percentage of commission from the sales price. So the CEO agrees to conduct the transaction, and he will retire from the company within the next year. So discuss how Muslim accountant should behave in that ethical dilemma, as well as the potential impact in the financial statement. So if we look into this second case here, right? So this is just the answer that I prepare. Okay, probably if we are serious in this, we can prepare a better answer, right? Okay, so we integrate with the situation here. Okay, so as Muslim accountants, we are always tempted to make large amount of money. So that's why the accountants are highly exposed to the scene of financial crimes, right? So because they are doing the money management and the financial statement, and they are exposed. So they often face ethical dilemma, okay, especially when the tasks are directed by the people who are in power. Okay, so in that case, further, there's an ethical dilemma there because the accountant can risk to lose a job as well, right? Okay, so rather than looking into the principles only, we integrate with the case here, right? The purchase of the property, look at the fair value, okay? Then the fair value is always, it can be manipulated, right? Okay, so how would Muslim react in that? So we talk about, if we proceed with that situation, then this will result in massive loss. Okay, so if massive loss, what happened, right? When there is because when we manipulate the fair value, the market is not good, but we manipulate, we inflate the price, right? Okay, then there is indicators of impairment in subsequent years. So there will be a massive loss, which result in the loss to the stakeholders. So in this case, because it's government entity, so we bring in government entity, so government can actually control, or government control, right? Okay, and then they can influence the policy or the activities. Even though perhaps the government agree with this transaction, but then it affect the return to the government itself, which affect the cost to develop the society. It affect what the government will give to the society. This is, of course, violate the concept of Khalifah and vice currency as trustee of Allah property. Okay, so if we are Khalifah, right, how should we? So should we go for this, right? Because we get the commissions, right? But then affect the agency itself, right? So although the shares belong to the government, Islam view that the properties are not the possessions of government. It belongs to Allah. Okay, so thus they must act in Allah will. Okay, we should act with the Allah will for the best of interest of Ummah.
Doctor,
Yeah.
may I interrupt? We around 3 minutes more before 12, so we will allocate around 10 minutes for Q&A sessions.
So how much more do I have here?
Around
Around
before 12. Then can you?
Okay, then.
Because we want to allocate some time for Q&A.
All right then. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we proceed here. So we bring in, right? Okay, we bring in that Allah it is supreme power, even though we may be protected by those person in the those person with power in the world. Okay, but we believe, right? Okay, we may run away from the punishments in the world, but we cannot run away from the punishment in the hereafter. So bring in the Islamic ethical value there as well as into the situation. Okay, same goes here. Believe in Allah overseas. Bring in those 20 attributes of Allah, right? Okay, 20 sifat of Allah. So in this case, so in this kind of approach, right? Okay, I will speed up, right? Okay. We encourage the students to read the Quran, okay, look into the tafsir, okay, and then find more verses, okay, that relate to the situation. Same goes here, right? Profit related bonus. How would be the approach? Okay, so we discuss here in the form of the trading. Okay, what are the activities? Right? Look into the bring in the hadith and ayat there. Okay, rule as Khalifah, so must be accountable, and so I believe so we can do something as educator. So God fearing concept, right? But then blend in, yeah, blend in with the situation there. Okay, for example, we give the incentive for profit bonus, right? Okay, so they have the temptation to inflate the profit figure, or they have the temptation to manipulate the profit figure, or do activities which are prohibited, okay, just to maximize the profit. But we believe in this, right? Okay, God fearing, bring in the concept of God fearing here. All right. Okay. So what do we have? Okay. What left with us? Yeah. What choices do we have? Right. Okay. For accounting, we have a few subjects here, right? Okay. We can integrate. Okay. Integrated is case accounting or Islamic accounting. Ideally, we should discuss in each accounting subject, bring in the ethical element if we are allowed to do so, and also ideally, right, okay, if we want to reach wide audience across all courses, we could approach the subject something like TITAS, right? Previously, TITAS was compulsory subject for all courses in public university as well as in the private universities. And then I think this TITAS is replaced by a new subject called Penghayatan, Etika and Peradaban. So if we could go into this kind of subject, then we are able to reach wide audience, because it has to be taken by all courses, students of all courses, rather than looking into the principles, look into the case of financial crime related to each curriculum. So before I end, right, shall we just 1 minute here, look at video here.
We cannot hear, Doctor, the sound from the video.
Okay, so now I conclude. How to stop that? Okay, so here the study, therefore I conclude that the study of ethics should not be in isolation. Okay, and then the different lies mainly on the belief of God. How to stop that? Hold on, yeah. Okay, so I think I stopped sharing that. I don't know how to stop that. Okay, so therefore I conclude that. So I think that will end this my presentation, right? Okay. So how do I stop that?
Never mind, Doctor. We didn't know anything that we saw in the screen. So thank you, Doctor. May I proceed for Q&A session? So any participant can who want to ask questions can on your mic and ask directly to Dr. Farizal, or you can write at the chat box. Okay, while waiting, may I ask a questions, Doctor?
I don't know how to stop that actually. Where do I stop?
You want to stop what?
Do you hear the sound YouTube?
No,
you don't. Okay.
Don't worry.
All right, then in that case, shall I conclude then?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I just conclude a bit here. Right. Okay. So the study of ethics should not be in isolation. So although so we have the similarities between conventional, the different lies being belief on God, right? Okay, belief of God as supreme power. So despite the belief, many people cannot relate religious belief into their daily business. Therefore, in order to enhance the understanding, we shall we hope that the approach should be using the case study will be beneficial, and this discussion apply to all other non-accounting courses.
Okay.
Okay then.
Okay, Doctor. I think that is the end of our sessions. So I jot down some notes here when you are presenting. So I got 3 points, major points that you highlight today, which are first accountability, which are our accountability to Allah. Everyone is responsible for his or her work, is accountable to that, no matter in what we are doing. And also the second is ethics in Islam. And then number 3 is integrate both the accountability and also the ethics in Islam in whatever we do, and also not forget to put this particular subject or areas which are ethics in Islam in most of our subjects and also across all the programs in our curriculum, because it's a very good concept that we should implement and teach our young generations today. So I think it's a very good sharings, Doctor, and my sincere appreciations and to you, Associate Professor Dr. Farizal.
Yes, okay. So I also would like to thank
on behalf of audience.
I would like
and
to
we also would like to thank all the participants today and Pronoma until the end of the sessions. And we will share the slide and also recording of these sessions through emails to all the participants that fill in the attendance form. So please fill in the attendance form that's been shared by the admins of this webinar. So for that, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, and thank you everyone for attending, and thank you for the thank you to TNCPI for inviting me to share some thoughts on this issue. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone.